And welcome back, everybody. I apologize for the late start to the tournament. We did have a couple of issues. We did have a couple of walkovers in the first round as well. We were looking for some players, and the players could not be found. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket. But we are back with Copa Hyperion number 43, our bi-weekly Latino American tournament. And with me currently, I am by myself, but I may be joined by a fellow Duckling in the near future. So stay tuned for that. It's possible. It is possible. Before that happens, we have our first series. We have a bit of a PvT. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player himself. He is blue, representing Unidos por el Vicio. It is Valhalla. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the Brazilian Terran player. He is red, representing Eximius Gaming. It is NexoRable. Or NexoRable? First time I've seen his name on a bracket, so here we go. Again, I do apologize for the delayed start. Doesn't usually happen, but we were in a case where 3 of the first round matches were waiting for their opponents. Exclamation mark Funada Ares, Funada Everness, and Funada Valhalla, who showed up like 3 minutes before the walkover period. We almost had 3 walkovers in the first round, but thankfully that did not happen. And there's a reason why I wanted to dive on this series. Currently, Rangel is playing against Alandre over in the upper half of the bracket, and I mean, that is a good series, and it does go into Ryu, which I mean would be a good series as well. But the reason why I wanted to cover Valhalla specifically, as he proxies in the middle of the map, is because last week he took down Jim. He 2-0'd Jim Rising in Sentimiento Latino. We were all shocked. If you remember, last week, oh my god, double robo? What? Yo, what is happening right now? What is happening right now? Oh my god. So we have proxy double robo. We even have a second pylon as well. So in case this gets found, there will be a second pylon in place to keep everything powered here. Meanwhile, when it comes to the openers, quickly checking the vision of Rabble. No, he skipped his Reaper. He went for a more efficient economic opener by skipping his Reaper, going for a Marine first. He's going for a bunker, which is very safe as well to defend against the initial gateway units. But again, because there's no Reaper, he doesn't scout across the map. Because he doesn't scout across the map, he doesn't see that the second pylon is missing in the main base. He doesn't know that there's a proxy. Oh my god, the Immortals are on the way. The Immortals are going to make short work of this bunker, but who even needs that when we have a Warp Prism to just ferry us into the main base? Oh my god, this is disgusting. But I was just talking about this. So Valhalla, he 2-0'd Jim Rising. If you remember last week, Jim Rising and Parker Mike were 2 favorites. They got knocked out in the quarterfinals. They didn't even make it to the semis, and everyone, I at least, and everyone else was shocked that happened. Darking as well. You know, it was kind of like a twist, a turn of events. And now I get to see Valhalla for the first time. I want to see how he took down Ome Jimbo, and I imagine it was with cheese. The Immortal gets into the main base. Worker after worker gets focused down as well. What do we have to defend? We have a couple of Marines, but again, with good enough Warp Prism Micro. Oh my god, and the juggling is not too bad. Ooh, has to be a little bit careful here. Again, the Marines do have a lot of DPS already, a little bit of hull damage being done to the first Immortal, but we now have a second Immortal, and we have a third one behind this. Oh boy, Warp Gate's about to finish up as well. With Warp Gate, we can start warping in a couple of units to help bolster this army as well, whether it's Adepts, whether it's Stalkers as well. Mule goes down, more SCV. Zero mining happening here in the main base. Second Immortal has to be a little bit careful. Oh, the Warp Prism's on the way, and the Warp Prism will pick it up. Oh. Do we have any repairs? We do not, so the bunker is going to slowly burn down. Meanwhile, the Warp Prism is going to bypass that natural base, go in towards the main. He does have vision, does have high ground vision with the Observer, knows the army is completely out of position, and he can target down to Stim! Stim, Bobby, get stimmed! Oh, 2 more shots. Oh my god, he's so close. He needs like another couple volleys, but the Marines are here, and it looks like, can he keep Stim alive? He can! Oh my god, it would have been huge. It would have been huge if he got it, but sick repairs there by NexoRable, just barely keeping that stim alive. At the same time, 2 more immortals are rocking up. Sure, there's repairs going on, but this is just wasted resources. The bunkers, there is nothing inside them. The bunkers are going to go down. We have a lift off of the natural base. Unfortunately, the wall is still not a wall. Ooh, a lot of damage was dealt to these immortals, by the way, but they're all still alive. Stim is so important. As soon as this finishes, everything changes. All these Marines can kind of have their way with this army. Oh, meanwhile, here we go. He's trying to pick some of the immortals. Up, gets one. A little bit of his micro. Oh my god, gets a second as well. Valhalla slipping up so much here in the micro. There was no right for him to lose 2 immortals the way that he did. Now he's knocked down to 4, which is still a lot. And this was too soon. This was far too soon here by NexoRable. It may feel good to kill 2 immortals, but that was an anti-timing. Stim finishes up in 1 second. And this would have been so much easier if he had just waited for Stim, been a little bit more patient. Now his Marine count is knocked down in half. It's cut in half, I should say. God, meanwhile, this immortal is on 4 HP. Oh, he will get another immortal. Oh my god, the power of Stim isn't going to be enough. No, it is not. There's just not enough fire here. The proxy double robo is going to work. It's working. Not like this. Boys are being pulled. But again, this time the War Prism Micro is what it needs to be for the most part. It looks like the DPS is just barely enough to power on through, but the there's just a wave. There's just a constant wave of immortals. They're not stopping. Oh, this is so disgusting. Obviously, what we needed, because we had plenty of time, we didn't get to talk about it, but he was going for a 3-racks opener. NexoRable was, I should say. If he had gone for a factory, if he had just gone for a tank on the high ground, he would have been in such a better position to hold the ramp. GG gets called, and Valhalla takes game number 1. Oh my god. What just happened? Oh my god. Welcome everyone to the chat. I also want to give a little bit of a shout out to Sounder, because apparently it is Sounder's birthday. So happy birthday, Sounder. Happy birthday. As I should fix this here. Boom. There we go. Yes, happy birthday, Sounder. Happy birthday. He's a longtime supporter of the channel, and I hope you have had and are going to have a good day. Oh god. But what a game. It was a shame that NexoRable was already kind of locked into going for a 3-racks, and because of that only relying on Marines. If he had had more of an anchor point, whether that was with a tank, whether he had gotten maybe even a Cyclone as well to focus down the War Prism and to hunt it down, whether he had gone for a 1-1-1 opener and had access to Vikings even, because there was no anti-air, he would have been able to, again, just ward away and shut down the War Prism. There are different avenues that he could have dealt with that. There are different ways that he could have dealt with that, but unfortunately, he only had bio units to work with. Sure, he had Stim and he was working on engineering bay upgrades, but again, that's not what you want to deal with that. That's just not ideal. Oh, oh god. And with that, GG. that was absolutely disgusting, by the way. Like, ah, god, I don't want any of this. I see Sound in the chat. I need to learn this. Oh god. The constant line of immortals, mate. It just wouldn't stop, no matter how hard our Terran player tried. But of course, we were talking about this player here, currently leading the series 1-0. We have the Mexican Protoss player representing Unidos por el Vicio. It is Valhalla. One of the newest and most disgusting Protoss players I've ever seen. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Glittering Ashes ALE, we have his opponents, the Brazilian Terran player himself, representing Eximius Gaming. It is NexoRable. Oh my god. I'm sure feeling a little bit scarred after game number 1, but hopefully that is not going to be the end of this player. Again, two very strong players. For those wondering, I was quickly checking. NexoRable is Masters 1, not quite GM yet, but he is on the way. And unfortunately, despite it being his debut here on the CranKy Ducklings, he wasn't able to really showcase his skill here in game 1. He just wasn't really able to get into his game. We got to see his crisis management a little bit, and he had really like on point and really clutch repairs, but he wasn't able to adapt on the fly as to what was coming his way. To be fair, he had very little time to react, and oh, it is time to turn the tables. You want to proxy me in game 1? Well, now it's time for me to proxy you. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, mate. Here we go. So we do have a Rax at home, which means this probe scout is none the wiser. To be fair, Valhalla didn't even go up the ramp, but if he had, he would have seen a Rax in that main base. He would have been like, oh, okay, you have a standard opener again, nothing to be worried about. You have a CC on the low ground, everything looks normal. But something is a little bit odd. Not just that we have a proxy Rax, but that we went Marine first. Usually, if you have a proxy Rax... Oh! I was about to say, usually, if you have a proxy Rax, you're making Reapers at home, you're making Reapers across the map, and then you dive in with a mass amount of Reapers, and you catch your opponent off guard, and you snowball and focus on worker kills. Meanwhile, NexoRable is going for a Tech Lab instead. I'm feeling Proxy Marauder. We should see Concussive Shell here. There we go. Proxy Marauders are going to be on the way. This is a great way to nullify the shield battery. Shield batteries are great, shield batteries are beautiful, but Marauders do so much damage to buildings. They can focus down the shield battery, they can focus down the pylon, and bust your way in with everything else. But if Valhalla realizes what's going on, he has a Stargate. What's important here is that he can make a Void Ray. He can make units to defend. Hopefully not an Oracle. Oracles can be okay, but obviously they have limited DPS. The Marines do rotate around. They do avoid the scout here. The Adept, once again, sees nothing, but there's also nothing at home. So the Adept can get a couple of SCV kills and maybe get a scout off. Yo, if he gets into the main, up! Oh my god, no! NexoRable. The Adept gets into the main base, and this is a massive tell. We have a Rax on the way. No other production is very suspicious. There should be already a second Rax. There should be a factory. There should be something else here in the main base. Even a third base. Anything. And here we go. He did throw down the shield battery as a response. The Marauders reveal themselves. The Adept goes down. There's not even a shield battery here already ready to defend. And the one that's on the way is not going to finish up. Oracle comes out. And with the help of the Oracle, looks like the DPS is high enough to focus on every single one of these Marines. Bunker is not going to finish up either. The Marauders are dealing a lot of damage though, so this could still be worth it. And this is the problem with Oracles, is that the Oracle is now out of energy. The Oracle cannot help anymore. This one Marauder is just microing his heart out. Shield battery did finish up, so it's, the Marauder isn't going to get any more damage done, but 8 probes go down. Despite that, Valhalla still ahead in workers. So was that worth it? I mean, it did deal damage. It did kill workers. It forced the Oracle to use its energy at home, which means it isn't able to deal anywhere near as much damage across the map. But Valhalla doesn't care because he has a second Oracle on the way. So a double Oracle, and if he saves his energy here, he's not going to because he's going for the mule. Up. Ooh, gets the mule. Nicely done. Just barely enough energy for 1 kill. And if it's a fresh mule, well worth it here. So I do think that Valhalla's still in a really good position, especially with the second Oracle. He's throwing down more gateways behind this to transition into a charge all in. Oh my god. He's so disgusting. Stim is about to finish up, which is great. But we don't really have that much bio at the moment. And again, charge ults kind of love bio, you know? What's the enemy of charge ults? SimCity, tanks behind a wall, Widow Mines. Marines and Marauders are okay in high enough numbers, but if that's not the case, then Valhalla's follow-up could end the game. Meanwhile, second Oracle's about to rock up here, does dive into the middle line, gonna get a couple more SCV kills. Ooh, only 1, but does get that revelation off, does recognize that, okay, we're going for another 3 racks. It is going to be mass Marine. Once again, I need to defend at home. A way to really shut this down is with Colossus, is with splash damage. So again, Valhalla may have a harder time. We'll see what he has ready for this. Meanwhile, triple Oracle. Whoa. You don't see, no! The miscontrol. No, almost loses his third as well, but he throws away 2 oracles. And just like that, NexoRable knows to come across the map. He doesn't have to worry about a massive counterattack in his main base. He doesn't even have to worry about stasis wars that much. Stasis wars would be amazing defensively back at home, but the oracle isn't really able to get them off. Not yet. Throws down another revelation. I don't know if that's the best use of his energy right now. He's well aware of the position of the army. Charge is done. Do we have enough charge outs to deal with this? It looks like we may. We do have a stasis ward now, but is it even going to go up? Oh, no, it will not. Meanwhile, NexoRable's wasting a little bit of time here on the third base. Charge outs are trying to dive on in, but they're, oh my god, the Marauders are doing such a great job at tanking up all that damage. And NexoRable, mate, he can just stim and win. Ah. So Valhalla, he's going to lose his third base 100%, but he could still defend his natural. He has a shield battery. He's going to have overcharge. He's trying to reroute his Zelts over towards that third base as well. He has another warp in, working on Immortals. Oh god, he even has a robotic spade. He knows he needs Colossus, but they're not going to come out. Oh, he doesn't want to waste his charge. Oh no, not too soon, puppy. Right, let's go. He does pop the overcharge as well, but the pylon is looking exposed. There's just not enough gateway units on the ground. NexoRable with the stem is able to pull it off. GG gets called, and he ties up the series 1-1. Oh. Would that have been a little bit different if he had kept all 3 oracles alive and used them for some DPS or some stasis wards back at home? Possibly. It's definitely very possible. Unfortunately, wasn't to be the case. Again, he left his oracles a little bit idle there. He lost 2 of them immediately, but at least we get an ace match. Oh my god, that's exactly what we wanted here. I'm a little bit torn, I must admit, because I want both players to do well, but I do want to see a rematch, because if you haven't seen the bracket, Valhalla is going to go up against Jim Rising after this series, so there's going to be a bit of a rematch, if that happens. Alright, here we go. As we load into game number 3 of this series, I quickly want to actually confirm here. Sentimiento Latino. It was 1-3-1 if I recall. Yeah, Valhalla 2-0 Jin. Crazy. Absolutely insane, but here we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres ALE, we have the Gym Slayer himself, hailing from the land of Mexico and representing Unidos por el Vicio. It is Valhalla. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres ALE, we have the Brazilian Terran player representing Eximius Gaming. It is NexoRable. Going for another proxy. So you know what? This series was worth the wait. You know, I know we had a delayed start to the tournament and all, and I was waiting for players, but I was waiting for these players specifically, and I don't regret it because, guys, the Clown Fiesta is upon us. We have a Proxy Rax up against Proxy Gateway, I imagine. Do you have a Gateway here at home? No Cyber Core yet. We have to wait until the Gateway finishes up here first before that happens, but there we go. We have a Proxy Gateway as well for Valhalla. So Proxy versus Proxy. Let's go. Now, Valhalla will go for a Probe Scout, and with this Probe Scout, he confirms, your Rax isn't here. Your Rax is not at home. I'm getting proxied as well. And how is he going to respond here? I believe this Reaper Cliff is fully walled off, but there's a second Reaper Cliff anyway, so, I mean, NexoRable can still get up the base. Reapers are on the way. What's important is that there is only a single rack, so it's not the most committed proxy from... Oh, never mind! I was going to say it's not the most committed proxy, and it's not, but the factory is also across the map as well. Aye. What's important is that NexoRable hasn't worker scouted. He hasn't SCV scouted, so he is unaware that the pylon is missing. He's unaware that there is a gateway across the map. And because the factory isn't here at home, there's no warp. If a zealot got warped in, and it's going to be a stalker instead, regardless, damage can be done across the map. Meanwhile, we do have, oh god, we do have a Reaper here in the main base, already sustaining a lot of damage here by the workers, by the zealot. Oh, can he get the probe? He will get one probe. Almost for the cost of his life, but he just barely manages to escape. Adept is out here at home defensively to help deal with the Reaper. Valhalla has defended against the first wave, but it's a proxy 1-1-1. Valhalla is looking for the proxy. He has a probe out on the map, but he hasn't seen it. He doesn't know. He checks the bottom right, but not slightly to the left of it. Meanwhile, Stalker rocks up as well. We do have a full wall off here at home for NexoRable, but no units. No units whatsoever. Oh, here we go. NexoRable does come back home with his Reaper. Has to be careful. Oh, almost gets focused down. Meanwhile, Hellions are on the way. I imagine we're going to get a medevac. There we go. So we're going to see a Hellion drop into the main base. This could deal a lot of damage as well. But again, a lot of this depends on where the Warpin's going to be. Like, what's important about this scout from Valhalla with his units, he sees the factory isn't at home. He's going for a proxy fusion core. What? BC? I don't think he's going to live that long. I'm not going to lie. There's nothing here at home to defend. Workers have to be pulled. We need to see surround. We need to see surround. Oh, the Zealot will get surrounded, but not the Stalker so far. The kiting is looking pretty good here. We have a Twilight Council on the way. We could see even a DT from here. A Dark Shrine, I should say. With the power of the Adept, with the power of these Stalkers, with good enough control on Micro, yeah, NexoRable, he knows he's just going to completely evacuate. Meanwhile, we have a recall all the way back home. Hellions have rocked up in the main base, but because of the recall, Valhalla, he's not going to lose anything. He loses 4 probes, to be fair. They were trying to rally towards the natural base, but he has a strong enough army to contend with what NexoRable has. It's just not enough. GG! And we will not see the Fusion Core come into play. We will not see the BC. Valhalla takes the series 2-1. What did I just watch? I'm like, what happened? What happened that game? What happened that series? Like, I don't even know. It felt as if, especially in game number 3, it felt like NexoRable was just doing whatever he could. Like, you know, like he was freestyling, you know? It didn't feel as if he had done that before. Going proxy 1-1-1 from Reapers into Hellion drop into BC. That's so awkward. Like, that's so weird. Like, I can't imagine he's done that before. Maybe he has. Maybe he has. But what a game. What a series. GG. Well played to both of these players for making this happen. What a way to just kick off the night. The morning for me, but the night for them. Oh, God. GG, well played. And of course, Valhalla will move on here in the bracket to face his compatriot. It's going to be a rematch. Last week in Sentimiento Latino, Valhalla went up against Jim Rising, and Valhalla took the series, surprisingly. Like, for those who don't know, Jim Rising is one of the best Zerg players in the entire Latin American region. He's a great player. He's taken games off of Special. He's taken series off of Cham as well. I'm not saying he's at their level, but he's pretty close. He's just under them, And for him to lose to a player like Valhalla is shocking to me. Of course, we weren't able to cover that series, but this week we will.